Okay, hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Wordspace Radio. My name is Billy, and joining me in the studio today is Ethan.
Hello.
Megan.
Hi.
And Ben.
Hiya.
How's it going, guys?
Good.
It was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome stuff. You all excited
We are.
for the first
Yeah.
for the first ever
I can't believe
Wordspace?
this is happening.
Yeah,
Genuinely excited.
Exciting project.
brilliant stuff. Since this is the first episode, anyone listening is probably confused what this all is about. So, does anyone want to explain what the plan with Wordspace Radio is?
Well, we all did this originally as part of someone's placement. It worked out well. We continued it. We've worked on it. We've won. It's a society now. It's a thing. It's for artists, poets, musicians. A little platform, sit in a room, no audience, no awkwardness. Just you, a couple of people, some good conversation.
Yeah. And to extend on that, it's not only for all the arts. We're thinking about expanding onto all different subjects around the uni.
Mhm.
So if you want to come in for a psychological debate or a philosophical debate, then
Or a political.
debate, there's so much scope for this project. It's going to be fantastic. So just get your emails in, go to the Facebook page, send us a message, and we can get you on the podcast for whatever you want.
Yeah. And it'll be very fun and everyone will enjoy it. That's what it's about. It's about enjoying,
Yeah.
just enjoying yourself.
Celebrating the
Mhm.
students
And
of
getting
Leeds
the
Trinity.
humanities out there.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the humanities have been vastly underrepresented
Yes,
for a
they
long,
have.
long time, and it's going to be nice for everybody who's created something or got something that we want to share
Be
with the uni.
passionate about.
Yeah, it's just a simple way of getting it out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Since we've got that established, then we can say what's going to go down for this episode.
Yeah.
You're all English students,
Yeah.
and you've all brought us a poem.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. I suppose what we'll do then, keep it nice and chilled out. One at a time, in whatever order you're comfortable, you can read your poem.
Right.
And we'll all have a chat about what we reckon. And
Yeah.
we'll try not to be mean.
We'd love to clarify. These are our own poems.
Yes.
These are not someone else's poems.
Did I not make that clear?
You did not make that
I'm
clear.
terribly
I am
sorry.
making that clear.
I'm a first-time host. I need practice.
And if anyone tries to nick poems and claim it as their own, I will kill you.
This took a dark turn. Who wants to go first?
Suppose I will, if that's okay.
It's always okay, Megan. Knock our socks off.
Okay, so this is composed upon Canal Bridge. Rust and bolts is what I see, no charm or beauty here. To this worked iron that cascades above stagnant water, the chipped paint that was thickly applied flaking and disappearing into the sky. Yet atop this arch you see the trees that frame the view of a peaceful island, surrounded by sun-touched water, still yet full of life. Blind by imperfections am I, to not see that sunset sky.
Brilliant.
Beautiful.
Fantastic stuff.
Thank you.
Love it.
Snaps for Mega. Too loud.
That was truly lovely. Do you want to give us a little context about what it was about or how it was inspired?
Yeah, this was a piece that was part of our course. We had to do a sonnet about a bridge, and this one is based on this horrible rusty old bridge at home, but where the bridge is so beautiful that everyone notices the bad things and doesn't focus on the good things. So this is that contrast between being too focused on negative to see the positive in life, maybe.
Oh.
It's deeper meanings all over the place.
That is
Because
deep.
if you a common philosophy towards pain and suffering
Yeah.
and negativity is that you need it to see the beautiful things in the world. And if anything, your poem very much encompasses that, because you need that ugly, horrible bridge to see all the beauty in the surrounding area.
Yeah.
I really like that idea. I think it's really, and you've put it really prettily as well.
Thank
Love
you.
that.
Yeah, I like as well that you do draw attention to the idea that we do all too often people just fail to see the lighter side of life, and it's kind of the idea that negativity kind of outweighs positivity too often, and it would only take one negative comment to make somebody cry, but maybe 4 or 5 compliments to make somebody smile.
Yeah.
You know, and that is something that people need to readdress and realise. So it's a nice message for a poem.
It's a really nice start, actually, and as I am from Wigan as well, I do physically know where the bridge is.
Yeah.
And she's right in the fact you've captured it perfectly, because it is a rusty old bridge in a really nice area, which is a shame for the bridge. But like you're saying, to stand on top of it and just look out and admire the good things through the bad things, it's a really nice message in general.
I love that rhyme at the end as well. It really tied it up as pretty.
Yeah.
But you got the beauty through it in that last, was it a rhyming couplet?
Yeah.
Just, it was so pretty. I really
Just
loved
had
it.
to follow that sonnet thing where you sum it up in 2 short lines.
Yeah.
I just had to.
It's called a Volta for anybody who wants to be pretentious.
Yeah. Loving the Volta.
Yeah. Wonderful stuff. Yeah, well, thanks a million for reading that one, Megan. It's absolutely brilliant. That I know that it's hard sometimes to come in and read a poem, and I hope that it's been nice to hear us tell you how lovely it was.
Yeah.
It is. It's
And
always nice, isn't
comfortable
it?
Can I ask though, for those listeners who are wondering if word space actually works, would you have got up and read that in front of a crowd?
Oh, definitely not. No.
Would you have read it in a small room of people?
It depends. I
like
think
the word space in town or class?
it's nicer to do it in front of, like, I know you people you're off my course. It's nice to just come in here and read it. I'm not the most outgoing person. It's just a really good idea. That's why I'm so invested in this. Seriously, it's so amazing what this project is just trying to do.
Yeah, because the
Yeah,
thing
get
is,
involved.
equally as many people who would have listened to it at Wordspace or in a classroom are likely going to hear this poem now, possibly more.
Yeah.
The only
And they
thing
get
that's
to
been
hear it without a nervous
the only
tone
thing
in
that's
the
been
voice.
taken away is
Yeah.
the fear,
Yeah,
which is you know.
it's this safe platform we want to create for all of you students listening.
And we've all said in the past, we all agree, a poem is at its best when read out by the person who wrote it.
Definitely.
And you know, if you're not nervous and you're comfortable, then we get to read it. We get to listen to it the way that you intended it to be listened to, and that I think is brilliant.
Are you? You're a little bit more confident, aren't you, Ethan? But would you ever read a poem out yourself?
If I was in a class, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've always been to the word spaces and been really eager to do it. But once I get there, it's a bit intimidating.
Same for me. Every single time, Lewis always comes up to me with a clipboard and I write my name down on it, and then he asks me to come up and I shake my head at him.
Yeah,
And he just skips and moves
because
to the next
you're in a
person.
room with wonderful poets, and they're not going to judge you. So if you are listening and you're scared to go up, I do encourage you to stand up on word space and speak, because you're only going to get praise.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is why this is so fantastic, because I'm so comfortable here, just in a small room, recording. I can get it down
Absolutely.
and done.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
And the amount of explaining it takes to tell people what this thing actually is, it's easier done than said.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Since you're so confident, then do you want to give us a little bit of information about the poem? 'Cause I think yours is an obscure one,
Yeah.
and then go ahead and give it a read, and
Well,
we'll have a chat.
Well, I'm going to read it out first, and then we'll see what the listeners think, and then I'll give you a bit of context afterwards.
Awesome stuff.
Right, this one is Filter of Language. Practice ends, deconstruction begins. The cold gold tenor, reflecting all shapes and sizes, safely tucked away in in its red velvet bed. All that is left is the mouthpiece to clean. What a peculiar item on its own. The essence of its sound can't be without, yet relies on the rest. Much like a biscuit cutter, moulding the mixture to pleasing shapes, to mould the notes to a pleasing sound, it relies. The light catches the piece, illuminating as a torch from the past, a torch from today, a useful tool, an egg cup for your soldiers, a golf tee for your caddy, or a stencil for that perfect circle. Such a simple trinket, yet complex to its core. Who knows how the mechanisms work? A mystery to me, basic to another. All I can be certain, the mouthpiece is a funnel, music funnels through, language funnels through, to compose the various arts.
Wow. Deep stuff, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. straight from the bat, you can tell that there's a lot of subtext to that I don't think is readily apparent. So do you want to give us a little bit of information what the poem's about?
Well, yeah, much like Megan's, it was a piece for one of my portfolios, which we were asked to bring in an interesting object, and I brought in a trombone mouthpiece, and the task was to write all the different objects it could be, because obviously it's a trombone mouthpiece, but like you will have heard egg cup, stencil, there's so many different uses for it if you think about it. So it was based off a Sylvia Plath poem.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was cut.
Yeah, cut.
Yeah.
That's the one.
The one where she accidentally chops the top of her thumb off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's written in that style, but about this one object using sort of different metaphors which you wouldn't really usually hear.
This was directly inspired by Plath, although that was kind
Yeah.
of mandatory. But
Yeah,
you clearly added your own essence.
yeah,
It
Your
is
own
funny,
life into
yeah,
it,
that
I quite
if
like
it was
it.
inspired by Sylvia Plath, who's like Queen of Darkness, yours has got such a like light-hearted, homely kind of,
Yeah.
just chilled, happy vibe to
Yeah.
it. Even though it
That's
was
what I like to
obviously
go for.
inspired by
yeah.
Queen Misery herself.
Yeah, it was more the structure
Yeah,
rather than the content, I'd say.
yeah, it was the you borrowed from Cut the obscure comparisons
Yeah.
kind of idea, the way you had to like take something and
Yeah,
exemplify it in bizarre ways.
And also the comparisons are so, the everyday things. It's very, you know what an egg cup is, you know what a cookie cutter is, and it's just very, I don't know, you can connect to it because you know what these things are, yet you're trying to explain that they're not what you think they are.
yeah,
And it's quite an interesting way of doing it,
yeah.
I think.
I really enjoyed writing this one, and
Yeah, the title intrigues me because it's what was the last stanza where he said something about music filters through, language filters through. What was it?
well, the ending is because with the stanza where I go on about how it moulds the sounds to pleasing sounds, I just saw it. It's double meaning, the filter, because physically the trombone mouthpiece could be a filter, but it also filters through the sounds and different arts, and because this little object created the poem, it's creating music, it could be a funnel, it's creating the words on this
Literature.
page.
Yeah,
Literature, exactly.
Okay, so let me see if I
I
understand
really
what you mean.
like
Is that this piece that literally makes the music possible through the instrument,
Yeah,
equally has made the poem possible in this
Yeah.
indirect way.
exactly.
I
And-
get it.
And like the trombone needing the mouthpiece to work and the mouthpiece needing the trombone to work,
This poem needed that object to
Yeah.
work.
Exactly.
That catalyst of inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that.
thank you.
Yeah, that is actually
If anyone
spectacularly
was
colour.
to focus on something to do the trombone, the mouthpiece, I don't think is the first thing you'd go for.
No.
You'd go for its
I'd have brought the
huge
trombone in.
brass colour,
Yeah.
or its intricate keys, or its
Yeah.
deep like resonance, and
Yeah.
that's all something that it produces or it has.
Yeah.
And then this mouthpiece is like the most versatile part of it, and I
Yeah.
love that you've touched on that. It's not something I'd ever would have thought of.
I remember that task as well, and I wasn't in your class
Oh.
at the time, but I do remember, and I remember bringing in a compass for mine.
Yeah.
And people were trying to bring it, like I brought in a compass because I thought that's such a symbolic and easy thing to write a poem
Yeah.
about, and people were bringing in swords and
Oh,
rings and
what
stuff
was
like
it?
that. You brought in something that was going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
You stretched yourself from the beginning, because I've never read a poem about a trombone's mouthpiece
No.
before, and I don't think I ever will again.
no, exactly. And what's even more surprising is that I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, if somebody said I've found a great poem about a small insignificant part of a trumpet, I'd go, oh, don't
Great.
care.
Exactly. So
But yeah, so I
Again,
think you surprised
another
everyone.
Good reason for this platform.
yeah,
I wouldn't have heard that. I wouldn't have seen your perspective or even thought about a trombone's mouthpiece if you hadn't have come on Wordspace Radio
yeah.
and
It's
read
got
it out.
such scope,
Yeah.
and you're gonna find so many new things you enjoy. It's just fantastic, and as many as people as you can get to read their own unique stuff out is absolutely gonna be fantastic.
Yep, comedy. Hoping to get
Yes.
some bit of music,
Bit of music.
bit of angry debating,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, philosophy, fuck me.
some vicious politics or something. Anyway, we just keep on plugging the show. If someone
On our own show.
yeah, exactly. It's pretty much implied that if someone's listening to it, they probably already like it. We don't need to
Yeah.
convince them it's good.
Well,
Just
if
a
they're
pilot.
they're listening this far in, they probably like it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like Family Guy just trying to reassure themselves that the jokes are funny. Like, something. All right. Should we have another, Ben?
If one must. So, yeah, this is my poem. It's called Shaken. Shaken are the rotting roots, now that spring has come. From the grave a drummer shoots, but shadows linger on. Answered questions grow to light, asked they never were. Keyless is the lock at night, where nightmares seem secure. Who are you, lewd silhouette? The grave is now full, the title's in stone now set, the strings are his to pull. Warmer seas enrich the season, no thunder now, but calm instead. The drummer beats with rhyme and reason, now that solitude is dead. Presentiment is dead and done, bedimmed though is the future day. The battle fearfully fought is won, and naught can pull the path away. There is a grave for every man, but I do not hold this in contempt, for a witness stands of another clan, as to share with me this life's attempt.
Amazing.
Wow.
Great.
You see, we're always impressed by your stuff, Ben. But that was. We have heard it before, so it's hard to be as enthusiastic as the first time. You know what I mean? But
No, any enthusiasm, I'm very humble.
no, we've told you a few times that this poem is particularly good, and
Thank you.
glad that you chose to read it again, because it would have been a shame that it wasn't included
It
in the
is
first
amazing.
episode.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's on so many levels. Delve into it.
Yeah, I think the first thing that you notice that makes it just pleasant to listen to is the nice rhyme scheme. You know, it's always great to, especially for people that don't read poetry often, just to have that fallback of a steady rhyme and meter. That, and then obviously you go into the most impressive use of imagery. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? So the reason you chose the dark kind of.
Well, I like to think it gets lighter-ish
Yeah.
towards the end, even though I keep talking about doom and gloom. It's actually, it's not a doom and gloom poem, although it may come across that way. It is actually a love poem, in a sense. It's not so much about the love or some sort of euphoria, as it is about my personal changes through having a relationship with a person who is brilliantly positive and constructive, and is just a great influence on me. The imagery is because I don't like doing things simple. So
Which I think it really lends itself well to this, the dramatic imagery, because if you are talking about like a change in yourself through a relationship, then it is dramatic, and
Yeah.
if it has been a dramatic change, then it just feeds in so well. doesn't
It's
it?
a bold topic that kind of deserves to be extravagant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know you're never one to shy away from extravagance
Oh,
in your writing. So I remember you talking about the inspiration of it when we were chatting the other day. You said that it came from, you got the initial idea for one of the lines from a game or something, didn't you?
yeah, no, that opens up an entirely different line of discussion, though. I mean, I am really bad at listening to other people's poetry. As ironic as that is, taking part of Wordspace Radio, I love listening to new poems and stuff. But when people are saying, "Oh, what do you know about Keats? What do you know about Byron?" I'm like, "Well, Shakespeare." I'm like, "Well, I know Shakespeare because I'm from Shakespeare's birthplace." But them other bastards, I don't particularly. Oh, that wasn't a particularly bad.
We'll
word.
bleep it. You're okay, Ben.
You know, I've never been one to learn other people's poems, and it's not an ignorance, or it's just I'm bad at that. And I don't find great inspiration from other people's poetry. If I read someone else's poetry, I think that's amazing. But it doesn't inspire me to write my own. What inspires me to write my own is what I see day to day. This poetry, this poem, this first stanza was inspired by the music and a couple of lines of Halo 2. Because the Grave Mind was dark and poetic, and so I really liked the structure. And I thought, oh, I love this. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I carried it on. And it wasn't until I kind of got to the beginning of the second stanza that I knew where the poem was going to go or what it was about. I just kind of wrote words, whatever I felt like writing came out, and then I was like, oh, now I know what this is about.
Yeah, I think you've got a similar style to me in that sense of sometimes a poem can come from some really, really fantastic rhymes, and you think I don't want to waste these rhymes. They sound great. I'd better come up with a topic fast and turn this into something.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I'd like to, make the point that you don't have to be a poetry addict to write good poetry.
Yeah, I know.
It really annoys when people say, "Oh, if you haven't read the classics, you're not going to." No, I can write clearly, lovely poetry. That sounded ignorant or arrogant.
That is fantastic.
And I'm not particularly into classical poetry. I would always tell people to read poetry, read the classics. Not because they have to, but because it's a wonderful expression of culture and thoughts and feelings. And they are genuinely fantastic poems. That's why they're famous. It's a treat to listen to. But I would never say that you have to for fear of your own skill or whatever.
Well, it shows perfectly that it's not inspired from one of the classics. It's inspired from a video game. And if it's that good and that meaningful, then does it need to be from
Absolutely.
a classic?
I think that kind of the snobbery needs to be taken away from literature sometimes.
It absolutely does.
if
Otherwise
you
literature's going to die.
Yeah, if you can find something that really inspires something beautiful, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an ugly bridge or a mouthpiece or a video game, you can produce some fantastic art from the weirdest places.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't have to be from an immense knowledge of Keats and Yeats and Wilde. It can be from,
Exactly, because that initial inspiration has led you to write such a personal poem. And I like that it's not blatantly personal, so you wouldn't particularly know it was a love poem. But when you explain it, you realise that has led you to write your feelings down, and it's a lovely thought. Oh, it's lovely. Is there a reason you did use that dark imagery?
Because when I started the relationship, I was in a dark place. It was in a very dark place. It's something that I'm open about with friends, but I won't have recorded.
Yeah.
But I was in a dark place. It wasn't particularly good for myself. And I had very rotting roots. I had very rotten foundations for relationships, for intimacy, for the reasons for entering into any sort of romance or sexual relationship with a person that were shaky and questionable morals. And then I met Aaron, who I am wholeheartedly in love with, and things changed. Even my poetry got better because I had something I actually cared about.
Yeah.
And from something as simple as being with someone who will point out what you're doing is stupid, your life can change immeasurably. I also felt like I owed him something. I owed him me changing, and it was kind of like a mind flip, because I owed him the changes in my life because he cared about them. So because someone cared about me on that kind of personal level, I cared about them caring about me, so I changed me because I cared. And if ever my mother does listen to this, it's not, Mum, because you didn't love me enough. There's just certain levels of intimacy you can only have with a lover. And that's where this poem really came from. Especially answered questions grow to light, because there were things I didn't want to face. And I had to. They popped up and they got sorted.
I noticed though that the dark nature of the poem continues from beginning to end, but not the dark meaning of what's being said. The last stanzas become more and more positive, until at the end, the last stanza, you say something negative, you say that it doesn't bother you, and you say exactly why everything's okay. It's strange that the dark imagery is there all the time, but your attitudes towards it are growing as the poem grows, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't know if that was intentional.
But it was. It really was, because I recognised it was a bit dark. So, well done, Billy. But yeah, there was a reason as well that I used a particular word, witness, and not lover or partner, or whatever. I used witness because I think when you have a relationship that is genuinely love, that person isn't just there for you to hold their hands or hug them or have sex with them, or they're the person you come home and you talk to about your life. So and so pissed me off today, or I'm really proud that this happened today, or the weather's annoying, or I like the colour purple. It doesn't matter. If it's happened in your life, that's the first person you tell. So they are literally a witness to your existence, and I love that idea.
I absolutely love and agree completely with that too. It's
not to sound like a soppy dick, because I would normally punch people in the face for talking about how much they love their partner. But no,
but it is a nice.
Because you have a pretty solid relationship yourself, don't you?
Yeah, it's been going strong, and I feel the exact same way. It's that person you get home to, and you just like, oh, today I saw a robin, and it's some absolute. I've never said that.
Anyone else in the world would look at you and go, "Shut up."
Yeah, but they're like, a robin, and they don't care about a robin, but they care enough about you that
they can appreciate your excitement over it. Yeah.
So, that's what I absolutely love about this poem, because I can relate to it on that level of just having that witness there, and it's such a beautiful image. I love it.
And it's cool that you've made something that's obviously very relatable, and you've still managed to make it very epic at the same time.
Thank you for that.
You know what I mean? Because it is difficult sometimes when you're trying to be relatable and understandable. Then it becomes bland.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you've not fallen into that trap.
Yes.
It's still got your graves and your, all that jazz.
Yeah.
All right. I hate to be the timekeeper, but we're knocking on the half an hour mark now, and it's time we wrapped things up. I want to say thank you particularly to Ben, because you're the last person to read, and that was absolutely spectacular.
Thank you.
But thanks to all three of you for coming in. It's been really cool to hear your stuff.
I've enjoyed
it too.
in,
And I hope the students listening out there have enjoyed this and want to come in and read the poetry to us, because the more the merrier.
Yeah, we want to hear more, and anybody who's listening who's got a poem and wants to, maybe hear some positive reinforcement from an English student, or just brag about how good it is, then swing by and give it a read for us, because we're always excited to hear from you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right, I think we just need a shout out to the people who made this possible, which is Ben's job as president. Do your thing.
Brain with the society. I'd like to make everyone well aware that this society is wholly possible due to the participatory budgeting initiative, Change for Change, which was championed by LTSU. £10,000 of the union's budget was handed over to students in order for them to vote on projects that they thought were necessary. The union themselves had no control other than counting the votes on who got what. And we got voted. Yeah. So our budget was filled to the brim, and we are now able to plan ahead. And I'd like to just thank Leeds Trinity Students' Union and anyone who worked with them for making this possible, and for championing financial democracy in in Britain's universities.
Thank you
No.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the first episode, guys. I hope you tune in for the next one, which will be coming soon.
And get in contact with us. We
Yeah.
want to hear what you
As
think.
many
and
people you can.
Yeah.
We
Many.
want your poetry, your dramatic readings,
your,
your
writings,
monologues,
Or
your
any ideas
debates.
we've not even
your
discussed.
music.
Oh, and if anyone can bring in a poetry joke, like they
Billy
win,
loves
they win a
those.
biscuit, because I love poetry jokes.
And we
so.
will actually give you a biscuit.
I swear to God,
will
I'll buy
have
you a
biscuits.
cake.
We are
or
budgeted
something.
now.
We've got $2.5 grand's worth of Viennese World funds.
Get down here.
Get
And
down here.
that's why
For...
Billy is not secretary or treasurer or president.
Right, thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.